G'day warbanders. Today I want to do like a quick review or a quick showcase of Gary Grisby's Eagle Day to Bombing the Reich, which is a strategic bombing simulator, or as I like to call it, a terror bombing simulator, which because it does allow you to do lots of terror bombing. You can make your own bombing of Dresden in this game if you want to, because the game facilitates that at every level. But I also want to like just shine a light on this game because there's nothing else like it on the market. This game, it's very old. The game has been continuously updated by some sort of community developers or something, and I wish there was a remake of this game because this is covering the World War II air war in Germany, the Allied bombing campaign that happened between, God, no, I don't know, 1941. I'm not sure. It started in 1941. And it progressed to the end of the war, basically. And the goal of this game is basically to bomb enemy industry and have this sort of air war with your opponent. And you control the entire air force, basically, in this, air force simulator. And it's just amazing how much detail this game is. Gary Grisby's games always have way too much detail. And I'll get into the flaws of this game, in a couple of minutes. But I just want to showcase this. And every target is simulated in this game. So if you want to bring down the Germans, the first thing you're going to do is look at your targets, and you'll see that there's literally hundreds of targets. You got areas like urban areas, you got radar, which is really important for the eyes and ears of the Luftwaffe or the Axis. If you take that down, you sort of decrease the chances of being spotted, essentially. And then you have your airfields, which is where the interceptors are all located for the Luftwaffe. Bringing them down is not as important in this campaign, I believe, because there's so many airfields. Like, how are you supposed to find them? That's one thing the Axis player can do, is he can relocate his fighters. And this current game I'm in, which is like a turn older, like this is not what I'm playing right now, but this is a play by email game, and this is like not the current turn, but this is just like a showcase, like a turn that I've done, right? And as you can see, there's this, you gotta think about a lot of strategies in this game. There's not just one definitive strategy you can pull. And I'll just go through the other targets, and these are considered critical industries, like the oil, which is important for the Axis. You want to take them down. You want to take down every target, essentially, but you got to be targeted. You can't just spread around. I like to target the closest targets because that's easier for your air force. But there's so many ways you go about it. It's a sandbox campaign. No one's forcing you to attack. No one's forcing you to attack in this specific area. And the game even covers the Italian theater. Of course, this area is not useful for the Axis player. He's going to lose it eventually. Another thing that this game does also is ground invasions, because as you progress through the war from 1943 to 1945, the land will change and you will soon take over France as USA, and you'll get the airfields and all that. And the game slowly progresses to you hopefully winning. And you can influence the ground war. Of course, the combat in this, the ground combat isn't like Hearts of Iron 4 or War in the East. It's nothing like that. It's very abstract, the ground combat, but you can help the ground combat, which I really love in this game. It's all about cat and mouse. Am I going to engage here with these interceptors, or am I going to go focus on the industry, or should I take the losses, take all the flak, take all the enemy fighters, and just send 1,000 bombers and hope they get there? Another thing this game also simulates is the weather. So your bomb raids are not 100% going to succeed. There's a lot of randomness in this game, and I love it because strategy games can often result in sort of metas and stuff like that, but when you add random chance, it's not like a guarantee that you win. And the Axis player, they can win in this game. It's just a long war of attrition. This is an attritional game. You can't win these decisive victories in Bombing the Reich. You can in Battle of Britain. You can, kill a lot of planes, but like in this game there's so many planes that like it's just a constant day by day event, and it's really fun in multiplayer too, because the AI, you can sort of predict what it's going to do. But with a human, which is what I'm playing right now, it's way more interesting. And the game covers aircraft losses, like every sort of plane, every plane in the game, right? And they've got replacements. As you can see, there's lots of planes. I'm not a World War II expert, so don't ask me like what half these planes are. I know what a Spitfire is. I know what a Mustang is. I know what a Flying Fortress is, but I know what a Lightning is, but like all these like niche planes or variants, I don't know the heck will they do. And there's this weapon database, and this game has a lot of units, and they all have their differing roles that you can employ them in. But there's like 4 main categories, I think. Level bombers, so your heavy bombers, which are designed to go over into Germany or to far-reaching places. And then you have your medium bombers, which are like sort of like your medium bombers, like, or medium range bombers, which go to the coast, or sort of just they stick around the coastal areas. So you want to try and keep them attacking those targets, and you always want to be constantly bombing shit. And also the fighter bombers, they're good for just taking out smaller targets like radar stations, probably airfields, kill some aircraft on the ground. Every plane has its role, and I like this historical accuracy they put in the game. Of course, this game does not simulate like dogfights or anything, like not like a 3D game, but there's a lot going on under the hood. And the one big problem with this game, I'll say up front, is that it's very repetitive to play. The controls are just so archaic, but I can't give it up because I don't care how tedious this fucking game is. It's just like there's nothing else like it, where you can bomb shit and like control your own air force and do what you want, and it's just amazing. But the problem is like I wish there was a remake of this game, but apparently on the forums they say that it's not going to happen, and there's no money that they can make from this game, and it would take like they'll essentially have to rebuild the game if they were to make this a modern game. Like right now I'm using software to actually play the game, because this game is super old. I think it came out in 2010, probably even older. There's older versions of this game. I think it's called 12 O'Clock High or something like that, by Talonsoft. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll probably like post a play by email game, my current one. My last one got dropped because I was too busy and the other guy was too busy, so we had to kind of like stop playing. But I'm playing against a new dude, and we both sort of know our shit a little bit, and it's been an interesting game. Go to targets. You can see that I'm really hurting his rubber, and the cool thing about this game with the opponent is he can like move his planes around, move his AA guns around, move his balloons. This game has everything, right? And it's, again, it goes back to the idea of cat and mouse. Does he defend France, for example? Well, there's no point in defending France, because I'm going to take it over eventually, as the war progresses. But he may want to slow me down there, And this raw region is like a death trap. Like at the start of the game, you have this area damaged, but it's a fun little challenge trying to crack this place open, as a bombing dude, because he can just mass up AA guns, and I can't do jack shit to this place, because the AA guns in this game are dangerous. Because if you fly, there's a whole trade-off with, do I go lower to increase my chances of hitting the target, or do I go higher, like in altitude, to avoid the flak? Because flak is dangerous in this game, and you don't lose too many planes, because yes, the Allies, they do have like 1 million planes. Like historically they did, they're pumping out B-17 flying fortresses. Like we have like 326 in the pool right now. Like, I'd be amazed if I lost 300 planes within a single couple of days, you know. But it can happen. It can happen in this game because it's a sandbox, right? Only another thing that I don't like about this game is that the attacker or the person who's doing the bombing or the terror bombing is, you know, limited by this you know, set production table. So I don't actually have an economy in the background. Like, I just get planes for free. Like, as long as I don't like burn all my planes, I'm going to keep producing planes no matter what. Like, any player can't do jack shit about that. But the enemy player, the Axis player, he has a whole production system. So this is not only a combat game and a strategic game, but it's also a logistical game. Because as the defender, you have to make planes, you have to research planes, so you can actually get to the stage where you can research jet fighters, which is pretty cool. Because if you rush for jet fighters, I think it's in the 1944 campaign, you could potentially like score more kills, you know, and try and outlast the Allies a bit longer. But yeah, it's definitely a historically accurate game because, yeah, the Allies are going to outnumber the Germans in this scenario, and it's going to be a tough situation for the Axis player. I myself, I don't like playing defense in this game because defensive is like, there's way more you got to keep track of because you have a whole production system in the background, and you got to deal with like resource shortages. Like right now, my opponent was like, "Oh shit, you hit my rubber factories." Now I'm, you know, having a shortage in rubber. You know, I can't build like my planes as effectively for like these specific engines. You know, it's those sort of things that like, it adds a little bit of tedium, but also adds a lot of fun. You know, there's so many ways you could disrupt the economy, the war economy. And just please tell me in the comments, guys, have you ever seen a game like this, like that simulates air warfare combat? I still haven't seen something like this in the wargaming space. I'm hoping for something, because this game is old, really old, and there's still nothing like it in today's, you know, market, because it's just too autistic. It's too edgy. Like, you know, terror bombing is a valid tactic. Like, if I go, hold on, if I end the phase, I'll show you guys what I mean. So the terror bombing mechanic is like this. So I click on urban areas, and you can see every sort of like a block is simulated. Like those blocked out areas with black, that means that's I've destroyed like a whole, you know, section of the city, right? And you can get to the point where you can do fire bombing. So if you drop enough bombs or incredibly rounds or bombs, right, it might start a fire and your firestorm, and you get like a sort of fire of Dresden sort of thing, right? You see that Berlin and it's that Hamburg has been bombed to hell from the previous sort of campaign. Of course, I was asking my opponent, like, is bombing at Paris like a valid strategy? But like he told me, oh, it's not like Axis, so it's not like a part of the, you know, German, you know, inner territory. So you won't get points for terror bombing Paris. I'm like, oh shit, you know, I was planning to do that, but like, apparently if you bomb the the occupied countries, it doesn't give you points, unfortunately. But yeah, weather is a big problem in this game. As I said before, the whole raids can be disrupted by cloud cover. Your bombers will still bomb through cloud, but it will be at an extreme disadvantage, or in, you know, finding the target, or, you know, actually doing the bombing. You know, like in real life, everything in this game is like real life, essentially. And, you know, I always, like, in my sort of strategy for this game, I always try to defeat the enemy's interceptors. So I always like have my raids, but I also have my fighters. They're like the max altitude, so they have the altitude advantage, because in aerial combat, if you have, you know, a high altitude than the enemy plane, you have an inherent advantage. So like, I always do that sort of strategy. But also you can play really defensive. You could defend your bombers. You could put like 200 fighters in close escort formation, where they're like really close, and they sort of protect the bombers. but that's not my preferred play style. I like to kill the enemy. As you can see in my previous let's plays of this game, like I don't really care about losing bombers too much because they're gonna die anyway, so might as well try and kill the enemy instead of trying to protect something that will probably die to flak anyway, you know. It's a very interesting game. There's so many moving parts. The manual is pretty extensive, but it doesn't give a lot of answers. A lot of things in this game that happen under the hood, and there's not much explained. Like, how does aerial combat actually work? Like, it doesn't tell you in the manual. Like, if your plane has better stats, it's probably gonna win. And I just love like all these little paintings, right? On the planes. And you know, every plane, you know, sort of has their, like, some of them are just like variants, and it's hard to tell like from these variants what is good. That's like the curse of these historically accurate games, is that you have so many variants of like the same plane with like little differences, and you're like, oh, you know, it would have been better to streamline this a little bit more. But of course, this is a Gary Grisby game. Like, he's gonna put every single tedious detail in the game. But yeah, guys, that's Gary Grisby's Eagle Day to Bombing the Reich. An amazing game. Check it out. Haven't shown the combat because the combat is very slow. But you know, it's just mainly about planning raids and seeing what happens. That's basically the gist of this game, and I love it. And I hope you guys check it out. It's very expensive to buy, but I would recommend looking for alternative ways to get the game, to be honest. But yeah, I hope someone comes and develops a sequel, because this is very old. But yeah, I'll probably show more gameplay because I didn't get a chance to finish my previous campaign. But yeah, I fucking love this game. See you guys.